Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Laps Down podcast. My name is Andrea.
And I'm MJ.
And we are so excited to be coming at you with our very first IndyCar recap episode.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. I know this whole time you guys have been like, they say they're an IndyCar podcast, but I've never heard them talk about an IndyCar race. And it's because we started the podcast after IndyCar. We were so inspired by the 2024 IndyCar season, we thought we should make a podcast. And now we get to talk about the 2025. So we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking a little bit about F1. Not too much about testing because nobody watches that. And then, what? You know it's true. Everybody just did a charade where we pretended like we watched it.
Like turned it on, been like, wow, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Can't believe I'm waking up to watch F1, film your TikTok, and then immediately go back to bed.
That's what we all did. Duh. And then we're also going to be talking about NASCAR in COTA. So let's get started with IndyCar. This is an unrelated to the race. You just wanted to start rumors. Do you want to start your rumor? Go ahead.
Absolutely. And actually, I saw it on r/NASCAR as well. So I didn't even start the rumor. That's a source. Reddit is a sourr.
Reddit is a source.
Feel free to use that on your collegiate papers.
Yeah. Cite your sources. r-Reddit.
r/NASCAR. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I was just trying to figure out how you would like cite it as official.
Well, you'd have to add the date too, and like the
maybe like the amount of like karma points it got.
Oh, true. And like on some Reddit pages, whatever they're called, like the little I don't know what it's called. Mm-hmm. You can like choose who you're cheering for, so you would have to like quote
your flair.
Like Kyle Larson fan.
Mm-hmm.
Big Pickle 12 said.
They put this out. Yeah. So go ahead and cite your sources. We've done that. Now say your rumor.
So the rumor is that Catherine Legge is going to be doing the double this year. And I know what you're thinking, like, where are you getting this information? That's such a good question. And I'm proud of you for having an inquisitive mind. She posted this week on her Instagram story, her in her elf fire suit, which is IndyCar.
Yeah.
Okay. And then she also posted, it was like a car in a dark room with like green, those like vertical lights that they always use in NASCAR. But like the car was lit up, but you couldn't see what the car like was. And it was like coming soon, or like everyone's asking what's next or whatever. And so obviously I just screenshotted it and turned the brightness up, and it was the 78.
They didn't
the 78 car.
They didn't think about people turning the brightness up. That's so funny to think it's just like you ruined the surprise by just using like the iPhone editing tools.
Yeah. I said enhance, and that's what I got. But I think the 78 that's the team that AJ Allmendinger drives for. What is it? I don't know what it's called. But so I'm like,
him? That's exciting.
Hey, I mean, if we had to replace AJ Allmendinger with Catherine Legge, like, I wouldn't be disappointed. Yeah. But, so I've decided that she is going to run OEP in the Cup Series, and I have decided that it is the double. So everyone, just, like, watch this space, because exciting news coming soon. From her from me.
She said, somebody has to take care of Kyle Larson, and it's going to be me.
So real.
So real. She's going to be
Chills.
like, Kyle. Yeah, she's gonna be like, Kyle, you're a little new around these Indy 500 parts, but let me tell you, I'm gonna have to take you out. And also, if she does come and do a NASCAR Cup Series race, I'm just gonna say, if you, this is my new thing, if you
not the finger
are mean and misogynistic to Catherine Legge, I will have to block, cease, desist. Like, if I see any misogyny against Catherine Legge, like, you will be personally coming for me and MJ and the entire Laps Down brand, and we'll have to do something about it.
Yeah.
None of that.
I fear that will not stand here. But I think they'll be fine. I believe in them. I have faith in NASCAR, like, a little bit.
Any wreck that she's ever been in has never been her fault. So, like, if something were to happen, like, it wouldn't be her fault. So they wouldn't be misogynistic to her.
Yeah. She has spun less in a NASCAR car, a NASCAR style car, than Kyle Larson has.
So, Catherine Legge better than Kyle Larson? Heard it here.
Facts over feelings.
I hope that she is doing the double. I hope she's doing it both in an elf car. I hope she flies there in an elf helicopter. And I hope it beats Kyle Larson's helicopter. And then, like, we can all be, like, foreshadowing for her beating Kyle Larson at the Coke 600. Like, I hope that Kyle Larson, like, has to end his career out of embarrassment for the way that she hands him such an ass whooping in both the Indy 500 and the Coke 600. I hope that's what happens. And I hope she does it all in elf. And then at the end, she takes out her little elf lip oil. And she goes, I was faster than Xfinity Internet. Bitch.
Please.
please. Show it to me, Rachel. That's what I hope happens.
Me to the crystal ball. Show it to me, Rachel.
So that was really exciting. And then we also had St. Pete's, the actual race, IndyCar race. A lot of people watched their first IndyCar race this weekend. Hope you had a wonderful time. There was hopefully no cheating this time. Maybe there was. If it was cheating, maybe it's just Joseph Newgarden again. We can just do that again. And
that'd be fine.
I also noticed for the first time that they race on an airport. I literally was like, what is going on with, and I was like, oh my God, is this an airport? I guess I'd never noticed that. And I was kind of disturbed by it. I was like, no, that's not where cars go. That's where airplanes go. Stop.
Silly.
We have enough airport safety issues right now. We don't need you adding to it.
Yeah. Maybe read the room, St. Pete.
But I don't know. What do you think about the race overall?
I loved it. I was, okay, actually, okay. Yeah, I did love it. It was really fun. It was much more like strategy based than, I don't think we saw as many like head to head battles. I also think, Fox is new to racing.
They don't do it in NASCAR.
No. So maybe they just like didn't know how to show us anything but like Scotty Mack being 10 seconds ahead for a while. I was enjoying that, of course. Really, but there were some battles going on back there, but
probably.
I thought it was good overall. What did you think?
I thought it was good. I actually didn't mind the like strategy essence of it. I think that I selfishly wanted there to be like crazy on-track battles because I knew all these F1 fans were watching IndyCar for the first time. And I wanted to be like, see, that's real racing. Got him. But then like it ended up just being how F1 is, where it was just like, who had the best pit stop strategy? That's who wins. But I at the end I went, that was fun. Like, no offense to Scotty Mack. I was like, this is going to really suck if you keep doing what you're doing, where you're just 10 seconds ahead of everybody. So I was like, somebody's got to do something. And I also think it's fun that we introduced a new audience to the sneakiness of Alex Palou. And I also appreciated that the commentators literally said sneaky. I literally was like,
they got there at the end. They got there at the end. Also, did you hear, this is kind of this is kind of like off track, but did you hear Will Buxton call IndyCar the pinnacle of, please do not promote other podcasts on our podcast.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, this is your final warning. Will Buxton called IndyCar the pinnacle of motorsport. Did you hear him say that?
No, but I love him so much. I feel like F1 fans, like European F1 fans, are actually like grinding their motherfucking gears that Will Buxton would dare talk good about IndyCar. And I'm like, guys, he's one of us now.
Guess what?
He's in America. He likes this. Stop bullying him. It's just going to give him more power. He was having so much fun. And I think he did good for his like commentating gig. There was just a couple times where he like had like a little goof, and I thought it was endearing. I didn't get mad at him for it. Like, I think one point he kind of mixed up Kyle Kirkwood and Marcus Armstrong, which, to be fair, I probably do that sometimes too. I mean, like, they're both like just like little mid-20s white boys, like whatever. But he accidentally said Kyle Kirkwood was like from the same country as Scott Dixon and Scotty Mack. And I was like,
how would we know, So maybe he's right.
Yeah, maybe like he has like dual citizenship and like I didn't bother to ask. Yeah. So like that's on me, honestly. I also think he at one point when we'll talk about this a little later, but when Nolan crashed, he said Pato because he just got a little confused. Fair enough.
Oh,
he's like, one of the
nobody
orange cars.
had any idea.
Yeah.
No, yeah. And they were like, it's Scott Dixon. I was like, shut the fuck up. It is not Scott Dixon.
No, but it was so funny because when he said Pato, I think James realized, like, that's a grave mistake. You can't lie about Pato being in a crash because you're going to make half the people turn off their TV.
Yeah.
So he was like, no, guys. He's like talking him down. He's like, that is not Pato. Don't be afraid. It's just Nolan and nobody cares. Like James was like really quick. And then there was another time where he like talked over Jamie Little. And it was so sweet. He goes, I am so sorry for stepping on your toes a little bit there. And I just thought, I've never heard a commentator apologize like that in real time. And I really like it.
It was really good. And I feel like they have like pretty good chemistry. I know. And unfortunately, he is going to have to like figure out how to eventually mesh with Townsend Bell. Like
he was just ruining the vibe for the, like,
we can't
James
get rid of him.
Will were like, and then Townsend Bell would just say something and everybody would be like, right. So anyway.
But that's exactly what would happen.
It was kind of a weird vibe. Maybe Townsend Bell's just like the little goth girl of the group. You know what I mean? Like he's just a little weird, but he's trying to fit in.
He's the Clint. Isn't Clint the guy in NASCAR who we're always like, hey, what if he stopped talking?
Hey, little question. I would say probably speak into your microphone less than you are.
Yeah. Or like say the same things, but like not into the microphone.
Just say them out into like the air, but like don't bring the mic up for it. Fair enough. Do you think when they do commentating, they do like the type of microphone that they have in Formula One, where they have to like put their mouth like right up on it, and then they gotta do that?
I think they have the Britney mics. Why do they have those in F1? Because F1 cars are not as loud as...
I think it's that they want to be taken seriously or something, so they just like do it because it looks cool.
The mustache microphones? Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think...
We should get those.
Right? It kind of looks like what they wear in courtrooms when they like take notes by like talking into like the little weird thing. Yeah, okay, we might have lost the audience on that one. Just look it up on TikTok. That's where I learned it. But do we want to get into the storylines of this IndyCar race?
Oh,
MJ beautifully organized this for us, guys. So we're gonna hit all the main characters of today's race and give you the up or down on their race day. So we're gonna start with Will Power. Had a bad time overall.
Oh, poor guy. He had consistent engine issues like throughout the whole weekend. And then I read that this morning in warm-ups, he had once again engine issues or an issue with the hybrid or an electrical issue, whatever they want to call hybrid issues.
The engine sucking.
Yeah. So they had to make alterations. They had to fix it. They had to I don't think they replaced it because I think they would have been, oh no, they wouldn't have been penalized this early in the season. But so he, fresh new engine situation, starts the race on softs, which probably the best strategy he could have had. And then just, I don't know if he was like too fast coming in to turn 3, or everyone kind of seemed to check up, but like he didn't check up. And then he also ended up taking out who we first thought was Pato and then thought was Scott Dixon, and then unfortunately turned out to be Nolan Siegel. But he just like from start to finish this weekend to forget.
Also, Louis Foster, or is that his name? Right?
Oh, yeah, he was there, too.
Yeah. I think from what I saw, Joseph Newgarden checked up a little bit. Nolan Siegel checked up a little bit. Will Power coming around the corner had no clue that's what was going down and just smoked him. And in the process, took out Louis Foster. But I don't know. There's something so defeating about like first lap of the season. Here we go. Turn 3. Literally turn 3. So excited for 2025. Let's go, girls. And then you're in a wall.
If there's one thing Will Power is going to do is he's going to take out the fan favorite rookies, like the young kids. He's going to say, hey, just so you know,
we don't
maybe
play around here.
Choose another sport. I don't know. I love Will.
Bad for Louis Foster because I interviewed them and they were like, oh my God, how excited are you to be in IndyCar? And what is your thoughts after immediately crashing on your first lap? What do you feel like? And it's like, what do you want him to say to that? Like, he's going to be like, feels bad. Feels like everything I worked for my entire life. I was so excited for this moment. And then Will Powers took it away from me.
Dude.
Also,
yeah, Nolan's was really sad too.
You have to deal with it, guys. If you're IndyCar fans that listen to this podcast, I will put an S on the end of Will Power every time because in my Midwestern heart, it is Will Powers. That's his name.
Because Midwesterners always add an S. That's why you say St. Pete's.
Yeah. And Myers.
There's always a possession.
Kroger's.
I felt really bad for Nolan Siegel, though, because he had a good car. And he has such something to prove with everyone being like, that's a Nepo baby. He took the seat away from not only Teo Porcher, but also David Malukas.
Yeah. I saw, they also cut to Tony Kanaan. He looked so pissed. And I was like, oh, God. Guys, that one wasn't even his fault. Don't start this number 6 drama again, okay? I was like,
he's replaced by next weekend.
Yeah.
It's TK in the car.
Yeah, I'm like, don't even look at him, guys. He's just having a moment. It's not his fault. So that was a big oof. But we had Scotty Mack. Had an iffy practice. I was like, that's probably a bad vibe.
Turn 3, ran into the wall. Something hard about that turn 3. Should we look into that? Do you think?
Nah, I think it's good.
Not my problem. They rebuilt the car though.
The way there's fully a truck backing up on the road. Like, hey, no worries. I'm just doing a podcast here. You can keep doing that probably. They rebuilt the car, and then he did really well in qualifying. Got the pole award. Brought his baby out.
Oh, I'm such a sucker for a baby.
I saw somebody on TikTok say, "Oh, if you win pole this year, you get a baby." That's cool.
Instead of a sticker, you get the NTTP1 Baby Award.
Yeah, because it was like just like a video on the IndyCar official page of just like him sitting on the car with a baby, and they're like, "That's so sick that you like get a baby this year."
Wait, I love that.
Is his baby's name is Lucy, I think. And they kept like asking him like how excited. I have no idea either. It's not my business, you know what I mean? But
okay, cool.
They were like, "How excited are you to win pole?" And he just kept being like, first one for Lucy." I'm like, well, Lucy didn't drive the car.
Not yet, but her and Alex Palou's kid, they're gonna be the same age, so maybe.
Ooh, gonna be taking.
It'd be so
out.
Fun.
I think Alex Palou's sneaky powers multiply by generation. I think she's going to be so sneaky. She's going to be so sneaky they're not even going to realize she's in IndyCar until she's winning the race. And then you're like, fuck, where did you come from? But yeah, I actually thought he was going to run away with this race. There was times where he was, like you put in the notes, 10 seconds ahead. And I actually was like, oh God, I cannot deal with the whole race of this. But unfortunately, he did not have the favored strategy that ended up working out. So, kind of, I guess, just a gamble you take when there's like 3 different strategies going on of like, is mine the right one? Seems like often though, like people like Alex Palou are on the right one. I would just go with whatever one he's on probably.
I was going to say, yeah, get those notes. Him, Scott Dixon, figure out what they're doing.
Yeah, they're probably on whatever the right strategy is. And Scotty Mack's probably on whatever the most obvious strategy would be, but somehow ends up being the wrong one, unfortunately. But I think he still had a good race. I think, like, he stayed out of trouble. I think he still was the leader on the other strategy. It's like, you can't fault him for that. Somebody that did not have a good weekend, as the commentators always say this, and I'm always like, let them, the racers, say this. Like, they kept saying, this is a weekend to forget for Pato O'Ward. And I was like, just let Pato say that. Like, the way that they are like, this weekend, you suck. Don't remember
I have decided you should forget this one, actually. This was not very good.
You should probably Men in Black memory erase yourself for this St. Pete race because sucked. He did not do well in qualifying. We had a lot of people that were like, what happened to Pato in qualifying in our live stream? And I was like, I don't know. I didn't see him once.
Taylor McLaren too close to the sun. I don't know.
Yeah. And then he started the race, had a puncture in his tire, had to come in and change them. And at that point, it was like, so what are we doing here?
Yeah, he kept having tire issues. And at one time, I think he was on the alternates, and he's like, I can keep going, right? And they're like, no.
Yeah, he was like,
you're not making it till the end, bud.
Yeah, he was like, let me go, like, 13 more? And they're like, that's never happened on anybody doing these tires. Like, that's not going to probably happen. Sorry,
not going to
buddy.
work. So I think he kind of just also succumbed to not having a good car and then not having a good strategy. But he still made it to like freaking what? P11? He got the biggest mover award. So he gets a trophy.
Well, that's actually interesting because he did the best with the situation he had, contrary to what the storytelling from the commentators was. I don't know who. I want to say it was Townsend Bell. So watch yourself, buddy. He said something about like, you would think Pato O'Ward would be the lead of the Arrow McLaren team now, but Christian is actually doing the best. Like trying to kind of say like Christian is like overthrowing Pato as king of Arrow McLaren. And I was like, hey, it's the first race of the season.
Hey, bud, we've done one. We've done one race.
Yeah,
we've
like
a single race.
And it was like
there's no way to know.
It was halfway through. And I was like, that's a crazy like statement to make. I will say Christian weirdly had a really good weekend. I think he was like the best qualifying of the Arrow McLarens.
Mm-hmm.
And he was running pretty close to the front behind Scotty Mack and Felix Rosenquist for most of the race. But I think he was on the other strategy.
He was on the bad strategy. He was on the same strategy that Alexander Rossi was, where they were like hard, and then they're like, we'll do the soft at the end, right? For like 10 laps at the end.
Yeah.
Right?
They kept talking about that. I was like, what do you think they're gonna do on the softs at the end? Like Godspeed, like past 20 people or something? Like is that what the
make
strategy
at least
is?
10 laps. The strategy is just survive on those for 10 laps and just hope it doesn't fuck you over, I guess.
Interesting. Not probably the strategy I would have went with. So I don't know if you guys are listening to Arrow McLaren, but you guys might have worked that out because you have a lot of new IndyCar fans that are kind of just there for Pato. I'd probably juice up his car a little bit.
Did you see that IndyCar on Fox live streamed Pato's onboard on TikTok the whole entire time? And I was like, if there was any onboard that he would not want to be streamed right now, I fear it is this one. But he put on a good show at least, like with all of his overtakes. But it's just like not good.
He was kind of driving angry at some points too. I mean, like they like were showing his onboard on the television broadcast, and he was like driving like a maniac around those corners. And even James was like, "Hey, buddy, I would chill just a little bit before you hit a wall." I've never really seen him so like shook up and kind of angry. So I feel like he was not having a good time. But somebody that they thought didn't race angry, and the commentators actually did say years back he would have been yelling on the radio right now. Colin Herta had also just a bad time, and they fuck up his pit stop straight up, like wheel
right
not
rear.
Going on.
It's always the right rear. Wasn't it like Milwaukee Mile last year that the right rear happened? Wow. That's a hard word to say. Oof. And then they're like, he will have a new tire changer for the race tomorrow. And I was like, ooh.
It was so weird watching it because like it was like the tire changer just like forgot fully how to put a tire on. Like it was like you have to lift it. You have to lift it to put it on. You're just kind of
that was crazy.
You're going.
They must have rehired him.
It. Yeah, they were like, "Hey, come back," and then they, in that process, fucked up putting fuel in his car. So then they were like, "You got to come back around, literally just to get like topped off on fuel." And he comes on the radio. He goes, "Okay, let me know if there's anything I can do to help." And the commentators were like, "Wow, he is so mature." Colin Herta, coolest guy in IndyCar, so mature,
it was so
grown
weird.
Up. They like, were so patronizing.
What a weird remark to be like, yeah, he would have been fucking pissed off. Like, as if, first of all, as if you wouldn't have been.
Like yeah, it sucks.
I was upset that he wasn't a little more pissed off. I was like, bro, they forgot to put your wheel on again, dude. Bro, dude.
What can I do to help? I don't know, Colton. Can you get out of the car and put the fuel in better? Because that seems to be the problem.
You start reviewing some resumes, put something up on Indeed? I don't know, Colton.
Like the resumes, the only like screening question is, can you put on a right rear tire specifically? Oh God, what a horrible start for him. It's just like, at least he didn't have any hybrid issues. That would have been worse.
That would have been the end of me, I fear.
Marcus Armstrong had a weird race. I thought like, okay, is Marcus Armstrong about to win this? And then you must have caught something that I didn't, this toe link issue. What happened?
So it was probably, I don't know what turn it was, but he was leading, obviously, went into pit, and then when he had come out and done another couple laps, he just kind of hit the wall a little bit. Like, he didn't even hit the wall, but you could see that his tire had gotten loose, and they were talking to the broadcast, they're like, I don't know whether they didn't put it on right, or whatever, but he was like, okay, I'm gonna come back to pit, I want you guys to look at this, I can feel that there's an issue, and they were like, yep, no issue, no, it actually looks good, so he went back out, and he's like, I literally cannot drive like this, and he had to retire. And they tried to fix it, apparently, according to Bob Pockrass, but to no avail. And it sucks because he was looking really, really good first race. Both of the Meyershanks were looking really good, but I think Fro, or as the broadcast called him, Rosie. Never heard that before.
I feel like that was on accident. I think Will Buxton accidentally said Rosie.
No, it was James. He kept calling him Rosie, and I was like, we did not decide that. We call him Fro. It's cutesy, Rosie. But I'm like, who the fuck is Rosie? I'm like, who is that?
He's Rosie to me now. You can call him what you want, but he's Rosie to me. Hi, Rosie.
But they both looked super, super good. But I think Fro or Rosie, whatever you decide, I think his tire strat took him out, and then Marcus Armstrong's car took him out, unfortunately.
Can I say, like, they were making, like, comments about, okay, not only are the drivers rusty, like, the pit crews are also rusty, like, they haven't been, like, under the gun for a while, and, like, whatever. But I'm starting to think that, I don't know if Meyershank actually did get a professional pit crew, but I'm starting to think that this needs to be, like, more, like how NASCAR does it. Like, this is your job. Your job is pit crew. Because it's like, there's too many wheels not going on all the way. There's too many people, like, having issues in the pit lane. And I think it just is distracting from the racing. It's like, why is, like, Colton Herta, who I view to be an extremely talented IndyCar driver, having every other week an issue with his wheel not being on? Can we figure that out? Like, I know Andretti's a pretty big organization. Can we do something about that?
These mistakes shouldn't be deciding races. I mean, for God's sakes, the Will Power situation, which I always go back to because that's insane, the seatbelt situation. Like,
his seatbelt not being
these
on.
Things shouldn't be, or like the tire coming off last year ruined Colton Herta's championship. Like, these shouldn't be the issues. I want them to, like, fuck around, like, on the track. Like, if they run into a wall, I'd be like, rats, you know? But I'm like, I think the pit crew situation, the discussion we've had previously, I don't know. I think it'd be nice to see.
I think,
all the tires make it on.
Yeah, I think you should be there. Pit crew's your job. Pit crew's your job. And then if you don't do your job, like, you have failed the weekend. Then, like, you go back and you practice just pit crew. Just do pit crew really well. That's what they do in NASCAR. I would love to see that because it's like, why the fuck are these amazing, well-funded, top dog teams like Andretti not able to put a tire on? Just that. Sorry to all the pit crew lovers out there. I'm a little bit of a hater.
No, we love a pit crew. They shouldn't have to do multiple jobs. You should never have to do multiple jobs at your place of work, you know? Like,
just do the mechanic stuff.
That's unfair
and
to
then
you.
Somebody else do the pit crew stuff.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Workers' rights.
Works for everybody. Hell yeah. We're actually, just do mechanic stuff. That's what we want for you. You're probably doing great at that. Another fucking technical issue that decided a race. Love him to death. Why does Scott Dixon not have a radio?
What? This is so funny because yesterday on live, we were literally talking about, I was telling you how Robert Schwartzman didn't get a bunch of practice time in because he had a radio issue. And you were like, well, couldn't he have just gone without a radio? And I was like, well, we probably wouldn't want a rookie to do it. But I was like, probably an older guy could do it. Like someone like Scott Dixon could do it. It wasn't a challenge when I said that. That wasn't a challenge.
He was like, thank you, MJ, for bringing it up. I'll show you. No problem.
Oh. The fact that he had such an amazing race. That was an amazing race for no radio. When he said he had no radio at the end, I was like, you're capping. There's absolutely no way.
And he literally, like, talked in the end, like, how, like, that literally was the reason why he lost. Like, he would have won. Yeah. Because he was like, they definitely must have been trying to call me in, but I had no idea because I didn't have my radio. But, like, at the last stint on my tires, it was shot, and it was just because like my strategy was all fucked up because I didn't come in at the right intervals because I didn't have my radio.
He was just off by like 1 lap. Had he not been undercut by Alex Palou, which we're gonna get to, but had he, like, he would have won.
Yeah, and he was literally just like going with like whatever he felt was right. Like he was like, I feel like I need to go change my tires.
Dude, that guy's funny. A genius. I just wow.
Yeah, if this is your first IndyCar race, no worries. Just know, never count out Scott Dixon. Never count out Scott Dixon.
We got our first, you can't count him out on the broadcast, and I was like, yeah, you can't count him out.
Woo, woo, woo. I love Scott Dixon. I actually did think he was going to win, and
I did too. I was ready to cry.
Be afraid when he has radio, guys. Be afraid. Scott Dixon's like, what, like 40 something? That man is not washed at all. Everybody should be on their toes.
I feared so much worse than that. I fear he's getting better.
He's gaining powers. Oh God. Him and like he needs to like sell the secret sauce to Fernando. Because I think it'd be fun if like we could have like
Fernando Alonso?
Yeah, like I think like because they're like the same age. Like they need to like he needs to like sell him the secret sauce.
I think they should do a weekend where they switch.
I would love that. Isn't Aston Martin next year? Aston Martin's going to be Honda.
Mm-hmm.
There's some opportunities there.
Look into it.
Fernando Alonso doing the double Monaco and then Indy 500. No, I'm just joking. That's not possible. Okay.
Geographically speaking.
Yeah, they can't just use a helicopter. Speaking of doing the impossible, Alex motherfucking Palou, he's insane in the membrane. We gotta keep an eye on that guy. What happened to Alex Palou? Spill it out for me, MJ. What did he do? How did he do it this time?
I don't know. I have to be honest, I don't know. Because I had the intention starting the race. I was like, I'm going to keep my eye on this motherfucker. Like, I need to know where he's going. I'm going to keep an eye on him. And then I got comfortable. That's what happened, was I got too comfortable. I was like, okay, he's like back there. He was like not really a worry. Yeah, I think he started 8th, kind of went back a few, went forward a few. You know, I was like, he's fine. He's kind of sticking around the same area. And then Scott Dixon goes into pit. And at this time, I'm like, we're going to see Scott Dixon win. He's never won here. This is going to be crazy. And then I hear the broadcast get kind of loud. And I was like, what are we getting fucking loud about? And they're like, oh my God, Alex Palou is going to undercut him for the win. And you'll never guess what he did. He undercut him for the win.
I hate it when he does it. No, I'm just kidding. I love Alex Palou.
Dude, and he came zooming out of nowhere. I was like, how did that happen?
How did he even get in a position where he could undercut for the win? How long has he been there?
When did he get here?
He's so fucking sneaky. And then, okay, now I'm like, okay, Alex Palou's winning this. I have mentally prepared myself. Like, I'm so excited. I love Alex Palou. It's a love-hate relationship. It's like, I love to see him win. I just am like frustrated on how he gets there because I don't understand it.
Yeah.
But then I hear this irritating, grating voice. No, I'm just kidding. It's Joseph Newgarden. And he is right there trying to pass Alex Palou. And this is not Alex Palou's fault. Guess whose fault it is? I'll give you one guess, MJ. Whose fault is it that Joseph Newgarden almost passes Palou?
Stingray Rob.
Fuck. Of course it's Stingray Rob. He was going so slow. He looked like me actually driving the speed limit on my way to work. This man actually must
on purpose.
He must have saw a speed limit sign on the streets of St. Pete and just thought, that's the speed limit. I have to go 25. 25 through here. Sorry, Alex Palou. You saw the speed limit sign. I don't want to get a ticket.
Oh, if you're new to IndyCar, this is something I think we should have talked about. Being new to IndyCar, you don't have to give up position. Like everybody has a right to race. And so, I don't know, this motherfucker's dinking around in P15 and he's like, I just don't think I'm gonna let Alex Palou by because he's in a Honda and I'm in a Chevy and I just
always gonna
don't
be
think
Stingray Rob. It's always gonna be Stingray Rob.
Forever.
It feels like it's always him. I'm always like,
it is.
Okay, that's it. We gotta have like a blue flag rule here, and it's just for this. Like it's
just
like
for him.
I can't be doing this. But then, yeah, he doesn't let Alex Palou by. Alex Palou scrapes by him, and then he goes, "Oh, Joseph, hey, girl, come on by." Hey, no worries. Hey. He gives a little wave as he passes. Have so much fun. Hope you get that Alex Palou big baddie. Oh, my God. Why do we have to do, the manufacturer politics? It's so weird. It's always just, be normal about it, guys. Just
truthfully, I don't think I've seen it before this instance. I really don't. And how do you not, just, so easily scooched on by for Joseph Newgarden? I would have been like, no, he's probably just, afraid of the blue car. That could be totally fair. Maybe he just has, PTSD or something. But just, I don't know. I've not really seen the manufacturer shenanigans outside of NASCAR as much.
Maybe he was oh, that's Alex Palou. Nobody cares. His IndyCar commercial wasn't even as good. You know what I mean? Oh. But then he saw Joseph and he was like, that's a national superstar.
Yeah,
he got nervous.
He thought of that ping pong scene, and he's like, remember when Joseph looked at the camera? That was him.
He did that.
That was his decision to do that. I can't just. Alex didn't do that.
Do you think that's going to be brought up at the Oscars today? The ping pong table scene?
What would that be? Best male, period?
Only man we will allow. But yeah, that was super frustrating, super angering, but it didn't matter in the end. Alex Palou won. And then in Victory Lane, I think we saw Chip Ganassi do a little...
He did this thing. He emoted. Right?
He Fortnite emoted on Alex Palou's car. And then Alex Palou brings out his baby in this comically large hat, and
adorable.
I just was like, cool. If you win the race, you also get a baby. That's exciting.
Big weekend for girl dads, I gotta tell you.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Hey, there it is. So, be prepared for some of the younger IndyCar drivers out there. If you're not ready to have a child, I wouldn't win pole or a race.
Do not win.
I'm looking at you, David Malukas. I don't think you should have a child yet.
I think, yeah.
Mm-mm. I don't think you know how to take care of one of those. You can't just put on turbo and walk away. You know what I mean? They have needs.
They can't use TikTok at that age. You
Oh gosh. So just be careful out there. But yeah, it seemed pretty cut. And I think this was a fun race to get people. I think they did a very good job of describing the different tire strategies. I think they did a really good job of laying out these people are in this strategy, these people are in this strategy, and 20 laps till the end, we're going to see it play out and what strategy was the best. And I think that it's much easier to follow on a road course than it is on the oval. So I think it was a good way to ease us all back into it. Okay, we're talking tires. Gotcha. What else did you think about the Fox broadcast?
I really liked it. I think there was a couple hiccups. We were talking with Brie earlier because Brie's more new to IndyCar than we are, and she was like, it's kind of frustrating that for the first 10 minutes they were having issues where we just didn't see anything on screen. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a what are these called? Where they tell you the a timetable. Time limits,
the order of the cars
speed.
In which they're gonna cross the finish line, hypothetically.
What are these ones? It has a name. I don't know. I would know it if we weren't actively filming a podcast.
Yeah, she knows it, guys. Just stop looking at her. She can't think of it when you guys look at her.
Stop. I get nervous. That was kind of an issue at the beginning. And we kind of talked about that during qualifying where we were like, hey,
qualifying
you could tell us. But I think they quickly kind of fixed it. And that wasn't really an issue, in my opinion, for the rest of it. I liked all the little graphics. They had little facts that would pop up, teaching you what the alternate tires are versus the primaries. I thought it was I thought it was significantly better than Peacock. And I had really the commercials weren't that bad, in my opinion. And so I think it's just a NASCAR. Oh, wait, can I say something about the commercials really quick? And I'm saying this because I know we have a male audience, and I love you guys to death in a non-parasocial way. If you see an advertisement on Fox for a skincare product that is a 6-in-1, please do not buy it.
Don't use it. Don't use it. Yeah, we talked about it. Maybe we're going to do a little laps down skincare routine for our male fans out there.
Ridiculous.
You don't need that product.
You do not need that product. But that's all I had to say. That one just popped up enough times that I was like, oh my God, do you think people are buying this?
My thing is like the qualifying broadcast was ass.com, the remix.
Really
okay.
bad.
They literally would show the clock, say, okay, we have X amount of minutes left in the qualifying. And then like 20 seconds before it was about to run out, they would cut to commercial. And then they would come back and they'd be like, do you guys want to know who put in the fastest lap right at the end of the clock to like get into the next round of qualifying? Do you guys want to know? Too bad. You have to wait at least 3 minutes while we just fuck around. There was one point where they were just showing an entire lap on board with Scotty Mack. And I was like, why are we watching this? And then they're like, oh, that was the pole winning lap.
Right.
I didn't know that because before we cut to commercial, Scotty Mack was like 5th in qualifying. Obviously, everybody puts in their fastest lap right at the end. Why did we go to commercial at that time? So if you're listening, Fox, you better fix qualifying.
I think they will. I'm giving them 1 weekend. They get one weekend to get their shit together. If this is not fixed by... You've got until the 23rd. If this is not fixed by the 23rd, pitchforks. I don't know. Something.
Yeah. No, I'm going to be mad. But other than that, I thought it was good. They got like a little goofy lovely. When like people would go into the pits. Sometimes the graphics wouldn't like switch on the side like of what place they were in. It would kind of like glitch out and be like, I don't know what to do. But then they would fix it, no worries. And yeah, I think they did a good job describing stuff for beginners. They did do one thing that I was like, you're making me mad. Stop doing this. Was they did an entire highlight of Prema, who at the time was in like 19th and 20th. I really don't need you to highlight them. It's quite all right. They're not at all affecting this race. And they were like, Preminazza, whatever like the fucking Italian name is. And then they're like, Prema is Prema. And I'm like, Will Buxton, do it one more time. Dare you. And then they show the like little, here's the drivers. And guys, this is so scary. Robert Schwartzman said his fun fact, he wants to be a hip hop artist. That's terrifying, and I don't want to know that. Just stop putting that on my screen because you're making it hard for me not to hate Prema. And Callum Ilott seems like a cool guy, and I don't know anything about Robert really, but now I feel like I know too much.
He also, did you see that he like opted in for that one? Because when they showed Callum's, they didn't show anything about his like his dream aspirations or anything. It was just like his stats. He asked for them to
put that on there. He asked him to put that on there.
He's like, could you also... Do you think you could also tag my SoundCloud on there, like a QR code? And they were like, no, Robert. We'll say that you want to be a hip hop artist, but we're not putting your QR code to your SoundCloud.
Yeah, I'm like, just stop berating me with all this knowledge about Robert and his hip hop career. I don't want to hear any more about it, and it's upsetting me and my homegirls. So don't talk about it anymore. But yeah, honestly, I think we gotta like go ahead and do a 1 to 2 week probation on Will Buxton saying Prema. I think I've had quite enough of it, and it's the one thing so far that he's done that I'm like, honestly, go back to F1. Now you're upsetting me. Everything else, he's totally fine. I have no problem with the man. It's just he keeps saying Prema in a weird Italian accent. It makes me uncomfortable. So that's my thoughts on that. Also, sorry, Prema, that this weekend was not good for you guys.
Oh, and it would have been fine for Callum, but he just, like, went off. He just, like, went off. He just, like, parked it.
Number 1 rule of IndyCar. Don't go off. That goes for all motorsports, I would say. Except for maybe NASCAR. We'll talk about that later.
We'll get there.
Fine going off. We can give you a little taste of F1. You guys had fun with IndyCar. You want a little taste of F1? Okay, you can have a little bite. This was music to my ears, guys. I'm giddy with this. I cannot wait to see it. Apparently, Susie Wolff is thinking her thoughts about maybe running for FIA president. I can't think of anything that would make me more happy. I think I'm actually about to tear up.
That would be so, especially after they open that stupid-ass, dumb investigation on her, because they're like, no, she's cheating. That's what the teams told us. And the teams are like, it wasn't fucking me. They all said that. Yeah, no, she deserves it. You should have handed it over in that minute.
I do think, like, there's no way if Toto is the team principal of Mercedes that they would allow the FIA president to be her.
Could they get divorced?
Oh, I was thinking something better. Maybe we just fire Toto.
Oh, yeah, that'd be fine.
Yeah. I because they have a child, MJ. I don't want to.
Well, I was thinking of the kids. I don't know if they need the dual income. I don't know how expensive it is to have a mansion, you know?
I don't either. I'll never have one, so it's not really top of mind for me. But property ownership, oh, how I yearn for you. But I think it would be so fun to have her as the FIA president. I think she would do some crazy radical things, like maybe have professional stewards that actually know the rules of Formula One and are paid for their work. That would be insane. Never heard of it. And I think she would do that. I think she also would be not a piece of shit. Oh my God, that's crazy. I think she wouldn't say crazy things in the press about Lewis Hamilton that are super racist. I think that would be super sick. I think she would say things about F1 Academy that aren't super misogynistic. Whoa, crazy. I think she would probably not be all the way up the ass of super problematic investors, which would also be crazy. And I think best yet, she would let them cuss. So for those reasons, I think Susie Wolff for president. Woo!
I would vote for that.
She could be president of the U.S. Other little tidbit of news. Did you see that Carlos Sainz was going to be on Stanley Tucci's dinner party show?
That's really big for me because I'm not a Carlos Sainz, not really a Carlos Sainz fan, but I love Stanley Tucci.
I know.
Oh boy, do I.
And it looks like they're playing card games in the show.
It looks like they're having a really good time.
No, I know. And I know he cooks, you know what I mean? So like maybe he actually knows more about food than we give him credit for. And I think he's just going to say some charming things about Spanish food. I think it's going to be really good. Yeah, I think it's going to be a big up for the Carlos girlies. Another big up for the Carlos girlies, he's finally getting paid for having good hair. He's a Loreal Paris ambassador now.
He's a L'Oreal Paris cover girl.
No, literally. I hope he does more than just hair products, though. I hope they have him that Michaela Nierengang girl, whatever her name is. I hope they have her.
Makeup bag girl.
Yeah, makeup bag. I hope they have her. I hope they have him doing TikTok ads for makeup. I hope he has an Ardell wispy on, and then he says it's all because of mascara. Yeah, I think that'd be really fun.
He goes, this hair, it's like a toupee. He's like, this was L'Oreal Paris.
This man's got a full balayage clip-in extension going on, and he's like, this is all from L'Oreal Paris. Yeah. But it's really interesting. I think that there's been a lot of partnerships announced lately. Lewis Hamilton is an ambassador now for Lululemon. I think Pierre Gasly has some sort of makeup brand. Maybe it was Givenchy or something. I don't know. But I remember being like, what are they going to do with Pierre Gasly? Are you going to put him in fucking makeup? I don't know. But maybe we should get them to do skincare for men instead of a 16-in-1 product. Who's the best skin? Who are we going to do the...
They all have really, weirdly nice skin. You would think with, the balaclava, it rubbing on your skin, you sweating into it, you would get, acne or something. But they all have really nice skin, so I bet they do have skincare.
Yeah. I remember
look into this.
Kelly Piquet said that she forced Max Verstappen to use moisturizer. And I thought, wow, that is some WAG content I'm here for. Because, we've all had to force a man to use moisturizer in our life.
No, yeah, 100%.
Guys, it won't hurt you, I promise. You can use it. But we did do some testing. I don't know. What are we doing at testing? The only thing I cared about was that the power went out on the first day. Because I just thought that's funny. I think that it was did somebody not pay the power bill? What are they using all that money that they fine the drivers for cussing on if it's not to pay the power bill? What are we doing here? Why did the power go out?
What do you mean the power went out? You guys are outside. You don't need power. You're fine.
This is the pinnacle of motorsport. You guys need a little flashlight? Come on, be serious. The other motorsports, they just have actual fucking lights on the front of their car. Be like WEC.
Be like WEC.
Take that. What else happened? Nothing. I don't care.
Everyone thinks that Williams is actually going to be top 3 this year, and I just I love you all to death, and I think you're all beautiful and you're all amazing and you have such good intentions, but I just want you to know I just want you to know it's not going to happen. And it's not because I don't want it to happen. Okay? That's not why. It is simply because we can't let them do this to us again. Mm-hmm. Okay?
I think the only things that happened of like note, like I watched like the little highlights from each day, and they'd be like nothing would happen except for I think like on the first day Liam spun out, and I was like, Liam washed. He's gonna get fired. He's gonna get fired. He spun. Loser. And then I think Oscar and Nico got in a little crash.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, that's actually not Nico's fault because the steak has never been near a McLaren before. So the steak just kind of freaked out a little.
He was like, orange. I've only ever seen the blue cars.
Fuck. And like he just got a little freaked. It wasn't his fault. And then Max Verstappen is like collecting all of the little rookies. Like they all like hang out with him. Like he walks and then like all of the little rookies like walk behind him.
He's like the mama duck.
That's so precious. I don't know why they all flock to him. I think he talked to Kimi Antonelli like once at the F-175, and Kimmy's like, we're friends now. And he's like, why is this 17-year-old following me? What's going on?
Whose kid is this?
I think it's sweet because when he talks about when he was younger, he didn't really have anybody his age on the grid, and like nobody really hung out with him. In fact, there's like this heartbreaking story of him like carrying his little sim rig and all of the older people making fun of him because they're like, oh, you can play your little video games. And I just, whenever I hear that story, I really get sad.
Oh no.
He just wanted to play his game.
But there's like 5 of them, and they're all like the same age. So like, why don't they just like make a little cohort?
I think it's like I don't know. I think that like rookies, they're always obsessed with Lewis, and they're always obsessed with Max, and they're always obsessed with sometimes Fernando. And I think it's just because they're like, I only talk to champions.
Like the pretty popular girls. It's like, I'm gonna associate myself with you.
Yeah. And also I feel like those are the people I would want to like me on track too. You know what I mean? I love when they give like them like little shout outs. Like I think Lewis did it to Franco once where he was like, that guy's pretty good. And like I bet Franco like fucking framed that shit in his bedroom. Like that radio message. He was probably like fucking frame it in the Louvre. And I get it.
I get that. That's fair.
I don't know. I guess that's it. Williams top 3, probably. Williams podium incoming.
Wodium.
Points. You know what? This is a good thing for me. This is a good time for me to do this. I forgot to tell you guys, if you haven't already, go ahead and give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, subscribe on our YouTube. Be sure to comment. I just forgot to do it at the top.
You said this is actually a really good time. Like now that you brought up something, we should talk about this right now.
They thought I was going to do it at the beginning, but I forgot, so I'm going to do it right now. And then now that they're hearing us talk about it, they're like, oh my God, I should totally do the 5 stars. In fact, I'll even type out a little review or like a little comment for MJ and Andrea to read. We'll be friends. It'll be a whole thing. So you're going to say it's not a good time for me to do that?
No, that was a lovely time. I just follow your lead. You were right. I'm sorry. I was just taken aback. But now that like I've sat with it for a minute, I was like, no, she was right. She was really right.
She was cooking something up. So that's it we have for F1. Last but not least, certainly not least, we had NASCAR. And we almost forgot to do this last week, so I say we just do it now.
Oh, you go first.
I go first?
No, because I haven't thought about it because I thought we were going to do it at the end.
Oh, okay. Well, we can sit in it for a moment. I can edit out the moment. Ready? Cut. Okay, uncut. We're back. We discussed. We collaborated. We talked about our answers. I'll go first still, though. Mine, easy money, Carson Hocevar. He handled his apology tour this week stunningly. They did a whole segment before the race of him being interviewed, basically just talking about, like, sorry I'm such a bad bitch. Like, sorry I race. Like, I want to win. And he did it wearing a shirt saying, like, do you want to join my boy band? Because he, like, last week said, like, we're not here to make a boy band, which, like, I was like, what does that have to do with anything? But I loved it. And then he showed up to the interview and he, like, rode a scooter in, and then he proceeded to take, like, a funny, like, a comedic timing perfection amount of time to, like, park the scooter directly next to the chair he was going to sit in. And then he was like, I'm ready to talk about how I crashed out half the field last week. What's up? And I just think like he could have like turned it all around and been like, I'm so sorry, guys. Like, I'll never do it again. But he doubled down in a way that was charismatic, funny. He actually has like a personality. I think he's like full on a Twitch streamer now, which I think is so fun. And I was like, you know what? That's fan favorite behavior. Thank you, Carson. Love to see it. Yeah. So it probably won't be the last time I vote for Carson this year because he's gunning for fan favorite, I think.
He's doing a great job, truly.
Yeah.
I
he's doing a great job.
I like the kid. I'll say it.
And so this week mine was for Carson Hocevar. Who is yours?
Okay. Mine is not for the reason that you would think. I mean, it's SVG. Mm-hmm. Not for the racing. Like, that wasn't really a part of it. But there was this funny moment that Andrea and I were talking about during, like, the pre-show. There was, like, 2 separate interviews they did with him, like, one outside of the car and one inside of the car. And every time they would ask him a question, he'd be like, I don't know. They'd be like, oh, well, how do you, like, it's pretty windy. Like, how do you think the wind is going to, like, affect the cars? And he goes, I guess we're going to have to see. And they're like, so what are you thinking for tire strategy? Like, do you feel confident, like, on the tires you're starting with? And he's like, yeah, I guess I just don't know.
He said
every single question.
He said, if anybody acts like they know what is happening with the tires, they're lying. Which is so funny because I have to think, SVG, there's a chance other people have a slight idea of what they're doing. It might just be you, buddy. With peace and love.
He's so open with being like, yeah, I don't really know. And then they kept putting the freaking feet cam on him. This isn't why I liked it. This isn't, no. That's not why he's my fan favorite. That's not why he's my fan favorite. It's just something that they kept doing. They kept going, this freak, he brakes with his right foot. And they're like, that's so fucking weird. And then they kept going back and they're like, look at his toes. Do you see the way his toes are pressing the brake? And I was like, what the fuck are we doing? Guys, please stop.
They actually call it a foot cam. So they kept saying, we're going to cut to the foot cam. And I was like, I'm sorry, we're going to do what? I don't want to do that.
Middle of the day on Sunday. On a national broadcast. And they're like, we're cutting to the foot cam. And I'm like, no.
I don't want to be part of the foot cam. I don't want to be there. Don't take me there. Oh my God. And then I felt kind of bad because this was supposed to be his week. And I don't even know what happened, really. It's just like...
his car was not good. Could not get up to speed when they would do the restarts.
Yeah. The restarts were fucking him up.
He would just, like, sink back. I could see him, like, going down the little thing on the side that I can't remember the name of. And I go, no, that's my boy.
What is happening, Jim? What did you do? I feel like if they would have cut to the foot cam, it would have been him, like, slamming on the throttle, like, go. Why isn't the car going?
Both feet.
Go! But, yeah, it was really sad because he was supposed to, like, get his easy dub. She's crying. He was supposed to get his spot in the playoffs. But, I don't know.
I'm crying now.
He'll just have to win the next road course, I guess. We had an iffy weekend, I would say, with COTA. You know, I feel like fine with the results. I think it was fine. I wish it would have been SVG. We had an Xfinity race. Always. In the Xfinity race, we had Connor win, which was so fun to watch because they tried to take down my son. They tried to take him down. They gave him some stupid penalty that I didn't even really fully understand because we were watching it on the live stream and I didn't have the commentary on. But I think he was wrong and I don't like it. They gave him this horrible penalty and then he had to like fight from the back, even though he started on pole. And I was like, this is unfair. He was innocent. Yeah, they're trying to take away this moment from my son and he's not going to have it. And he fought all the way to the front. It was like a crazy race to the finish, and Connor won. He scared the girls. The girls were scared in the cup race because they took him out. His 2 teammates, they got spooked that he was going to take his spot. So in turn 1, Ross Chastain is like, what if I dive bomb? When everybody else is trying to go through this turn, because it's literally the start of the race, and it's like the most perilous turn in the whole track, and we're like 20 wide right now. I better just dive bomb.
Calamity corner.
Is that
our son didn't survive Calamity corner? That's what they kept calling it. I was like, stop trying to make this a thing. But I guess it was a thing. It was the only crash that happened at that corner. So I don't know how much of a calamity it was. One crash happened, but Ross dive bombed into somebody else. Don't even remember who, and I don't care to remember.
And then in the process, my boy, he got taken out a little bit, just a little bit. Also, they took out the entire like front fender area of Denny Hamlin's car. He was just his tire was bare to the world. He was a open wheel car for like a little bit there. And I was like, whoa, F1, let's go. I love COTA. But then they fixed Connor up. But he was far back. He was like a minute 75 back from everybody else, but still on the lead lap. And he fought back up pretty hard. He got to like 13th maybe. And another Trackhouse team member, I know we like him. I'm going to be kind to him here. Daniel Suarez just kind of did a little thing where and nobody touched him. He just spun out. I'm going to be honest, nobody touched him. I think he just hit a curb weird and he just spun out.
Yeah.
And it got really smoky. And little Connor couldn't see through the smoke and actually smoked the side of Daniel Suarez's car. Honestly, even Daniel was probably like, what the fuck just happened? He's like spinning, and next thing you know, he's got like a top speed little teenager driving straight at him in a Red Bull car. And that was the final straw for Connor Zilich's car. It did not recover. It hit the wall and it was done for the day. It was so sad. It was really sad. And then the radio, they played the radio. I just stopped playing the radio when one of my favorite drivers gets crashed out. It's just gonna make me sad. He said, I didn't see, like there was just all this smoke. I didn't see. And they said, it's okay, Connor. You didn't do anything wrong.
Dude. That's so sad.
Sport is sick and fucking twisted.
But when he came out of the medical, they interviewed him, and my guy was chipper. He was like, yeah, it was super cool being out there with all the Cup Series guys. And he's like, yeah, it just didn't work out. I hope to do this again.
I had a little crash. Oops. But I had such a good time. And I was like, my son. And then Daniel, every week, this man, he has to like, it's not even all his fault. Like this one was probably his fault, but like in the speedway racing, you know what I mean? I kind of felt bad. It was like, you know, it's like everybody was crashing, you know what I mean? But every week we get on his vlog and we just have to watch this man be depressed. And so I think we've decided no more vlogging, Daniel. I think the vlogging is the problem. I think we should put down the vlog camera. I think you should just live your life without us needing to be in on it. Also, you don't wear pants in most of your vlogs. And it's
so crazy. He's just like constantly nearly naked. And I'm like, hey, you can see she's filming. Like you're making eye contact with her.
Do you think he doesn't know that it's going out on the World Wide Web?
Maybe he's just like, no, this is fine. He's like, you're in my home. I don't have to wear pants. Which I guess really is fair. Weird. Unless they are doing this to like get him a seat or sponsors, and they're like, we haven't even no I just meant like as like a promotional thing, like be like, oh, look at his personality. But alternatively,
I'm seeing a lot of his personality and a lot of everything else.
Personality is not the most we've seen.
I've seen his entire home and all of his body, but Daniel, I think no vlogging and more pants is probably a good way to go forward. And maybe next week, buddy. Somebody else that had a lot of hype coming into this weekend who did not have a great time was Kyle Larson. He had a rubber moment. And then they just let the tire go. They were like, well, it's not in the way or anything. It just sat in like the gravel pit for the rest of the race. And they're like, we're not going to go get that. Why would they do that? She's free.
Yeah, they're like, if she doesn't come back, she was never ours to begin with. Let her go.
They should put like wide open spaces by the chicks right over.
Ooh.
That.
Oh, that would have been beautiful. I would have been moved to tears. I fear.
But what was you put something here about the penalty. I guess I didn't catch that. What was the vibe?
Oh, it was because of they just didn't fucking put his tire on. He got cold and hurted. So he had a 2-lap penalty, and then obviously suspension for Jackman, Hugh, and the tire changer. So,
damn, what did Hugh do to this? What does this mean for the Greatest Showman? But
not the greatest showman.
That's not even the worst of it, because then later on they were just like, they cut to him and he just spun for like no good odd reason. I'm like, what is he doing back there? Like, I think he just doesn't know how to act when he's not in first. Like, he just like starts getting weird back there.
He doesn't know how to act when he's in first.
I know.
Dude, he's embarrassing us. We have all these F1 fans watching. All they know about NASCAR is they're like, that Kyle Larson guy, you know, the one who said he was better than Max Verstappen. He races in NASCAR, and then they're like, oh, NASCAR at COTA. I was like, guys, you're embarrassing me.
On his own, just in the back. Nobody's around him. He's just spinning. He's 2 laps
3
down,
wheels, spinning. Kyle.
It's embarrassing. It's honestly so embarrassing. And then, yeah, the track limits thing was very confusing. So it seemed like the drivers were confused about whether or not they could go over track limits on turn 6. Some of them were told hard no.
Well, it was originally, according to Jeff Gluck, they said, like, at the drivers' meeting, it was just track limits. It's like, you go off the track, there's gonna be a penalty. Like, do not go off the track anywhere. And then as they started racing, we were, like, halfway through stage 1, and, like, people were getting on their radios and being like, okay, but they're going off of the track. Like, we're violating track limits.
He was like, can y'all keep an eye on back there? He was like, what are they doing? Like, he was in first. Yeah. He was like, I'm the only one not cutting that corner. Can somebody check out what's going on back there? And they're like, no worries, Kyle. We'll ask.
Well,
and then
we're
checking.
What was their
answer?
And the answer was, oh, they said, like, you could kind of do whatever you want on turn 6 or on 6, but, like, on 4 and 5, like, that's where the issue is going to be. And I was like, why did you say that?
It's so funny because, like, it seemed like another case of, like, they didn't share the Google Doc with everybody before the race.
It's like, that should have either been decided and said before the race, or if you made that decision, you know what I wonder? You know what I wonder what it was? Is if they were like, fuck, so many of these motherfuckers are going off there. We do not want to go through the work of figuring out who it was, giving all these people penalties, so we're just gonna, like, what if we just, like, let them do it?
No, I think that's absolutely what happened. They were like, were counting it at first, and then they're like, "This is just gonna be really hard. We're not even
so
gonna race."
hard."
So like, they were like, "You can do whatever."
Yeah, that's probably it. Oh, once again, NASCAR. You're embarrassing me in front of all of my F1 friends who are like, "Why am I watching NASCAR?" Please.
To be fair, though, F1 doesn't really know any of their track limits rules. They pretend like they do more, but they don't.
That's like 90% of the race, though. Like, the cars don't pass each other, so we have to have something to talk about. Yeah, and they can't swear on the radio, so it's like, let's see if they can color inside the lines. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they only do it when it's Oscar Piastri specifically in qualifying, and it's really important to me that he gets a good time, and they'll be like, track limits, and I'm like, thanks, guys. But, yeah, no, Kyle Busch's crew chief was like, I swear they did not say anything about you could just fuck around on turn 6 in the crew chief notes. Like, he was like, let me, like, look, and he's like, nope, nothing that says you can fuck around in turn 6, so I don't really know what's going on back there. He's like, I'm looking at the Google Doc they shared with me right before this race, and it says that we definitely have to. Yeah, there's no rules. But that was super weird. Honestly, it was kind of fun though. And then I don't know, SVG was just having a hard time, and then you and I just kept going. He's gonna put on a masterclass now.
This is gonna be so good. 14 first in 2 seconds.
He's gonna put on a clinic now. Okay, he's going to do it right now. Oh, no, he went back a couple places. Okay, now he's going to do it for sure. 14 laps left. This is where the masterclass begins. And then the masterclass never came. And honestly, if I was SVG, I'd be like, we're going to have to run that back again. Okay, because I could have definitely won that if my car didn't suck so much.
There wasn't so many issues. Also, it's called the live timing. I just remembered. See, I told you guys I'd get to it.
Thank God we clarified that. Everybody was on the edge of their seat. So then we had a good race, I would say. The last 14 laps, I was clocked in. I was stressed out, but I was clocked in. We had Kyle Busch. You thought he was going to win. You'd be wrong. Instead, we had to watch Christopher Bell spend probably 15 laps staring at the back of his car, and I was getting really mad. And then he finally passes him, and then William Byron appears. I'm like, not you again. Get out of here. And then Tyler Reddick starts getting a little nosy. He starts getting in other people's business. Okay, you had these three goofballs at the front: Christopher Bell, William Byron, Kyle Busch, and then Tyler Reddick was like, "And now you guys crash, and now you guys crash." He kept like waiting for it to happen. He's like, "Crash now." But in the end, Christopher Bell won. He had William Byron breathing down his neck the last 5 laps like crazy, and if he made one mistake, it was going to be over for him. And he didn't have any lockups. He put it through the finish line, and it was a beautiful race to watch. And now he has 2 wins in a row out of 3 races this year. I mean, I hate to say laps down called it, but Christopher Bell for championship?
No, yeah.
Best racer ever, probably. Maybe?
Probably the best race car driver to ever live. Probably.
That's what I would say. I don't know.
Yeah,
what else were your thoughts?
I was particularly, they kept mentioning it on the broadcast too, but the amount of like clean racing, I was like, I'm surprised more of you guys weren't pushing each other off. Like, you guys are being like oddly like really nice, and I don't know whether it's because we're at the point in the season where we're like, don't want to be starting something, you know? But it was a clean race. It was good racing. Sad that SVG didn't do very well. Sad that Daniel Suarez massacred my boy.
There was like it's funny you mentioned the clean racing, because the commentators were like rooting for unclean racing. There was probably like 3 times where they were like, I think Christopher Bell should probably crash out Kyle Busch right now. And I was like, well, that's kind of crazy for you to advocate for. And then they're like, probably the only way William Byron's going to win this is if he crashes out Christopher Bell. And I was like, hey guys, stop. They're just
we can hear you. It's fine when Andrea and I are texting that to each other, but when you say it,
it's
that's
weird because
crazy.
you're professionals. But then at the end, they asked William Byron about it, and he was just like, I don't know, like, me and Christopher Bell have always raced clean against each other. Like, why start not doing that now?
Yeah.
And I think that that's really a good way to look at it. They're both already in, like, they already are fine. They both already have race wins. Why would you make an enemy of somebody you know you're going to be racing against many other times this season, probably also for the win? Like, why open the door on the 3rd race of the season of, like, hey, what if we just start fucking each other over for no reason? Like, I think that was very, like, level-headed and very smart of William Byron. Not that I would compliment him often. So, enjoy it, buddy. Enjoy it. Until you're dating Sabrina Carpenter, no compliments from me. But, yeah, and then it sucks that Tyler Reddick couldn't, I guess, transition his pole to a win.
Yeah.
Because, honestly, I really would have liked to see him win. I think he's been doing really well so far. I think he has a 2nd place finish, now a 3rd place finish, and then yeah, so it's like he's there, so close, but not
always
quite.
The bridesmaid, never the bride.
It's so true, MJ, and I hate when that happens.
That's the worst.
Ugh. I bet he would have like a really nice bridesmaid's dress though.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, he'd be in like
he'd be a really
wedding.
good. Yeah, he'd be a really good bridesmaid.
Yeah, they would be like, okay, like, you guys, here's the color, like, you get to pick out your style. And you knew he would, like, pick out, like, a classy style.
Yeah, he's not trying to show up the bride at all.
No. No.
But boy, would he like to be the bride one day.
Someday, if we're lucky. Maybe next week. What do we have next week?
We have Phoenix. Woo! So, which Penske you think's winning next weekend? I'm guessing Logano.
I'm guessing Blaney.
Ooh, damn. Sorry, Austin.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted Austin to win one of the 2 super speedways that he was doing delightful in.
Dude, he's just having a rough go of it. He's getting the Connor Zilisch treatment, but in the Cup Series, where he's just being massacred every single weekend.
Yeah, he didn't even have nothing to do with nothing, and they're just massacring him. I think he had a really tough time this weekend. I think there was one point where they were like, is that Austin Cindric? He was just like on a weird like strategy or something, like he didn't go in before the stage end or whatever, just to like scrape up some stage points. And somebody said like, yeah, but don't get used to it. Like in like 2 laps, he's not going to be there anymore. And
he said that this is the worst car he has ever had. I'm like,
sorry, hate to be the person that put that together. Bad reviews, buddy. So yeah, sorry, Austin Cindric. I don't think next week is your week, just simply because Ryan Blaney also doesn't have a win, and I think he's itching for one. So I think it'll be him. And MJ thinks it's going to be Logano. Some people said that I don't even remember who. Some people said like they don't even think like Logano is going to win like once in the regular season.
I'm not like big into betting, but I wouldn't bet that.
Like,
Save your money.
I think he could pull out like one. Like, he's not like trash on the side of the road. Like, he's the current reigning champion. Like, I think he's okay.
He's nearly won twice already.
Yeah, and he like won Phoenix the last time we were there. It was a big deal. It was like the championship race. So I think he'll be okay.
I'm just not worried about. Of all the people I'm worried about, he's not made it onto the list yet. Sorry.
Yeah, not yet. So yeah, that was the NASCAR fun. I thought it would be fun for us to like just have a little brainstorm here. So as we film this, currently the Oscars are happening. And I just thought, who do you think could have a biopic based on their life that would be like Oscar worthy? From any motorsport.
That was going to be my question.
Hey, no problem. I was already there.
Okay, I think because my initial thought was like, you know, what would make a really good like movie would be like Alex Palou, but unfortunately he wins too much for me to like really be rooting for him. Mm-hmm. I'm just kind of like, he's fine. He doesn't need me. So I would take more of like the always the bridesmaid, never the bride route that we were kind of talking about. Like kind of like if it was going to be like a 27 Dresses biopic, I would say a good one would be obviously Charles Leclerc. I think that would be a good one. Marcus Armstrong, I think would be a good one.
I think the Charles Leclerc one would be good. It would be a good drama, and it would end with last season's Monaco race. That would be the final.
No, I think it'd be even worse, or not worse, but I think they would end it like here, being like, I mean, he hasn't won it yet, but he still could, you know, like kind of leave him up on the little cliffhanger. So that's who I think that's an easy one, but that's who I'm voting.
Whoever they get to play Charles Leclerc, you know, it would have to be like a cute little, like skinny, like tween heartthrob type
Timothy
guy.
Chalamet.
Yeah, but like I think it would be whoever the next Timothy Chalamet is. Like I think it would be like White Boy of the Month material. Like whoever plays him would become like the White Boy of that month. I actually was thinking like it would be like less of like a traditional biopic. It would be more of just like a good drama. I'm thinking like Laura Dern is in it somehow. Maybe a Meryl Streep. And I'm thinking it would be about William Byron dating Ryan Blaney's sister. And then they're both against each other in the championship. And it's kind of just like how their relationship maybe was tensed because of this. And like it would follow like Erin Blaney. She's the star of the movie. It's not about either of the drivers. And how
I was like, who's going to be Meryl Streep? Like, is it going to be William Byron or is it going to be Ryan Blaney?
I'm kind of thinking like the maternal character would be somebody in Erin Blaney's life that has to tell her like, your boyfriend's trash. And that would be like Laura Dern, maybe. And then like, I don't know who would play Erin Blaney. I think it'd be somebody probably delightful. But I'm kind of thinking like, wouldn't that be like, you could see that being like a stellar drama.
I think that would be really good, especially from like her point of view versus like
their point of view. Yeah. I would be first in line at the theaters. I'd be like, here's like I'd probably have to see it a couple times. I would sit down at an AMC. I would watch the Nicole Kidman AMC commercial. I would be eating my popcorn. And I'm trying to think like who would play Erin Blaney. It'd have to be somebody delightful, a little skinny blonde gal.
How old is she? Oh my God, Sabrina Carpenter.
That'd be so crazy. That would be so insane.
That'd be crazy.
We'll have to think on that. If you guys have anybody in mind, you know, like if you're not familiar with the drama, like just go ahead and like look on TikTok like Erin Blaney, and then just like think of somebody that looks like her and put her in the comments. That'd be really helpful because I know there's probably a good answer out there. And when somebody says that, I'm gonna be like, duh, that's so smart. But those are like I think good stories that would win Oscars. So if anybody's writing scripts out there, that's our take. And I guess that's it. I think that's all we got. Anything else to add, MJ?
We've got NASCAR next weekend, and then the following weekend we have NASCAR and F1. And then the following weekend, we have NASCAR, IndyCar, and F1. We have the triple. So
we're doing the triple.
No IndyCar for a couple weeks. I hope our podcast can last until the next IndyCar race so that we can at least get 2 under our belt.
I'm so excited. This next weekend, guess what comes out? The new season of DTS. I can't wait. I'll come to the episode and I'll come to the next episode and I'll give you like the little tidbits because I know there's going to be like 1 or 2 like good little things that we can talk about because I know you're not going to watch it.
That. Nope.
She's not going to watch it at all. So be ready for that, y'all. And I guess that's everything. Bye. Say bye.
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 Goodbye.